Welcome back to Padilla Palace Projects. Today I'm going to be putting back together my herb drying rack. I made this last year. I have some photo tutorials on my Instagram highlights. And so I wanted to show you guys, though, I'll pop in some of the pictures on the way from those highlights. But I wanted to show you this here on YouTube because I actually really like this setup. It stored pretty well, and then it worked really well last year for drying herbs and flowers and so forth. So I'm going to tell you what you need first, and then we're going to start putting this thing back together so it works properly. We ended up getting 3 10-foot PVC pipes. You can get whatever thickness that you want around. I chose the sturdier PVC. There are some that are a little bit thinner, but we chose the sturdier one for this. And then, so you'll need 3 10-foot pieces, and then you'll need 8 of the corners that go 3 ways. So it V's at the top, and then it shoots down, so you can connect all your pieces together. And you'll see some of these in the pictures that I'm going to pop up. So I cut those pieces. How I cut those pieces really fast is I cut them into 8 13-inch pieces, and that's what creates your squares across the top and the bottom. And then I cut 4 5-foot pieces. So this is just about 5 foot tall. So all you're going to do, it's super simple. After you cut all the pieces, you just plop them together, and you'll create your squares with the 13-inch pieces. And then after you have both of your squares created, you can attach your 5-foot posts. And then I took it and I spray painted it a color that I would want to have in my house. And then once that was dry, I started adding in the twine. So what I did for the twine, I'm actually just going to cut this off, I think, because this is a hot mess. So what I did for the twine was I created a shelves here, and then a bottom shelf at the very bottom that has a little bit extra support going across. So how this works is when I'm ready to dry stuff, I can hang dry across the top big bunches of herbs or flowers or whatever. And then on the shelves, what I do is I take some cheesecloth. Now there's a bunch of different thicknesses of cheesecloth, and I'm going to show you what I prefer. So I first had gotten this cheesecloth. I can't even pull it apart. It has super big holes in it. It stretches. This is still doubled. It's just a lot wider across all the gaps. So I didn't really want this for drying herbs. This was too big. So I got this thicker one, and I cut it into squares, and you can tell all the holes are much closer together. So as you're drying small flowers or petals, nothing's gonna fall through. So this is what I use for that. And I tied these around and just created this little shelf. And the top one is primarily for catching anything that's hanging at the top. Where's my safety pins? Clothespins. So I take my clothespins and I fold this over. and create a shelf here. And you can pull it as tight or leave it as loose as you want. And then I'll tuck it under there. And I'll probably add more to this later. I'm just showing you a quick gist of how this works. So this shelf will collect anything that falls from here, and then you're going to keep adding the cheesecloth layers down and making your shelves here for drying your herbs and your flowers. And then this little container, any container will work. I'm just using this as an idea. I'm going to get one that doesn't have a lid. And this slides through and sits on that bottom shelf, and that can hold your extra clothespins and twine and scissors and all of those goodies. And then what I'm going to do across the top is I'm going to redo this twine. And I am just going to zigzag across. And I would rather have too many layers across than not enough, because I could always add to it. Add more, I could use less herbs, but I can't add more strings later for more herbs. I could just space them out depending on what I'm drying. So I just keep zigzagging this across, trying to keep it as tight as possible, which helps add with the stability. And then when I get to the end, get my scissors, I can tie it around this post right here to give it that extra security. And this is not meant to hold heavy things, it's only meant to hold the light herbs. And then the gist of what you do is you would cut your herbs. I'm going to cut a couple pieces here. You cut them, I rinse them, but for this instance I'm not going to. And you hang them. And you can have all this, a whole thing filled up with herbs. You can even hang them, heavier ones, from the poles. And then we're going to keep adding in these layers, and I'm going to pop in some pictures and show you this complete and fully in use from last year. But I wanted to make sure that you had time before your harvest starts to come in. I have herbs that are already coming. I have herbs that are already coming out the wazoo. Like, I have so many. I have mint that I've been cutting back consistently. I have rosemary, oregano. I'm ready to do a bunch of lemon thyme again. My thyme I'll usually just lay across. This is great because it saves on the electricity of using a dehydrator, plus it's the low temp, the air temp. Your house smells amazing, and it's also really pretty when you have it all full and you're going, and you can continually be switching these out and washing them and doing whatever you need to keep this sanitized and good to go. But it's a great way to dry your teas and your herbs for the kitchen. So let me know if you decide to make one of these. I'm going to be popping in all those pictures. I will be also adding in some of my favorite things that I'm growing this year, all the different herbs and things like that. And you'll be seeing much more of this in action over on Instagram throughout the spring and summer and fall. It gets packed up for winter. But I hope you enjoy, and I hope this inspires you to create something quick and easy, to think outside the box and also have it be kind of cute. Have a great day.